What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option, and this is your look ahead for the week. In today's video for Trader's Edge, I'm going to go through what levels I'm watching in the indexes, what earnings are going to be really big for me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the VIX and Bitcoin, and I will talk a little bit about the chips because they've gone parabolic. So with that in mind, let's dig in. SPX on Monday. You know, if you're really bullish, Monday's price action probably didn't make you overly happy because we opened up really strong and then basically could not really get off the mat the whole day. We did manage to end up in the green kind of across the board, but the S was up over 30 and ended up closing only 10, up about 10. NDX was up huge and ended up only closing up about, a tenth of a percent. The Dow had a little bit better day, closing at 38,000. And, where there was a little bit of strength was in the Russell 2000 and in MDY. But even those didn't look, overly great. We've just come off SPX expiration for Jan and the big expiration for ETFs and for equities. So we've got this big liquidity pocket. And when I look at the move that we've made in the SPX and kind of how we signaled on Monday, I'm thinking that we are set up for a little bit of selling into the end of the week and through into the Fed, which is at the end of the month. Now, that said, we've got some big earnings that I'm going to hit on in a second that could change things. But right now, Monday felt very, very toppy. What could change that? We've got some earnings coming up. Intel later in the week, I think, is going to be a big one. Netflix reports after the bell on Tuesday. I think that's going to be a huge one. IBM on Wednesday after the bell. That's going to be one that you're going to want to keep an eye on. And there is also just a ton of industrials, just a ton of names reporting this week. GE did reports tomorrow morning. That could be an interesting one to keep an eye on. CLF, steel, they're coming up next week, but that's, these big industry ones are ones that I'm watching closely. T-Mobile's been off to the races. They've got earnings coming up. So there are a decent amount of earnings that I'm watching, but the big three, Intel, IBM, and Netflix. I don't believe AMD is this week. It is not. Tesla is the other one reporting after the bell on Wednesday. That is also going to be a big driver. It's down to 208. It's just been going straight down. So those are kind of the four that we want: Tesla, IBM, Intel, and Netflix. Those are going to set the tone for the week, notably Tesla. All right, now let's look at VIX. VIX did manage to close down on Monday. That, to me, is a pretty big positive because we'd seen such a tight spread between the cash and the index. We did see that continue. The Fed future still has 3 weeks to go, more than 3 weeks to go, is only trading about 85 cents above the cash index. Still really tight, still pricing in like we are going to get a volatility move, either up or down. And that is one thing that I'm really kind of concerned about. and watching very closely. On the bullish side, VVIX, we saw that big uptick in volatility for VIX options. That has normalized. VVIX is back to 80. Generally speaking, that's a pretty bullish sign. So we're getting market mixed signals. Market mixed signals. If the market is going to rally, IWM has to break above this 21 and make that move higher. MDY kind of has to do the same thing. It had a nice day on Monday, but we need to see more out of MDY. That is going to be, those are the two indexes that we're watching very closely. All right, so now let's look at Bitcoin. And for this, we can just look at ARCB. You can see it's down again. Weakness in Coinbase. Coinbase maybe found a floor, but I still think it looks a little bearish. Mara and Riot, similar situation. I still think there's some potential bearishness. Riot, maybe down to $9. Not a lot more there in Riot. Mara, little different situation. I think Mara could be running at $12. So I still see a lot more downside there. And those are really, that's really what I'm watching closely. They're not listing Bitcoin options for a little bit. It's going to be a bit. So until then, these will still be the best options to trade. But when they list options on some of these big Bitcoin ETFs, and they're really two dominant ones, the two biggest are ARCB and FBTC. This is the Fidelity Wise Original Bitcoin Trust. These are the two biggest Bitcoin ETFs. They were the most successful. They're the ones doing all the volume. Those two will be the first two probably to get some options listed on them. But for the week, we've got a lot of earnings, but I think things set up a little bit bearish. I would not be surprised, not hugely bearish, but I think a retest of 4,800 is completely in the cards. All right, folks. Speaking of in the cards, how would you like to join me in Chicago? That's right. The Option Pit Conference is back. It's going to be in July 22nd through the 24th. You're going to want to call my team, 888-872-3301, to find out more information. But it's going to be 3 days of deep education and lots of fun. We're going to do a steakhouse dinner. We're going to do a Cubs game. We're going to do some happy hours. But more importantly, we're going to have amazing guest speakers. You're going to learn a ton, and we're going to live trade together. It'll be me, Vaz, Andrew, Bill Griffo, and Frank Gregory, and of course, the Queen of the Candles, Leisha, Leslie. You don't want to miss it. I'm Mark Sebastian, your only option. See you soon. Have a good one.